into some groups, which I don't normally do, but I think this is a special show, just like the one tonight's going to be. All right, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm going to go ahead and put on a little intro. That way people can come on in, have time to come on in. Let's see. And then we'll get on it. All right, man. 6 minutes late. Universe is never in a rush and always on time, right? All right, be right back. Sorry about the little delays. This is Mark Mcnicholl's day off for his family. It's normally my day off. But Michael Mejia, he convinced us to do this, so it's all his fault. All right, let me get the guys up here. Welcome everybody in the Zoom room. Thank you, Allison from New York, for your continued great messages, love, support, and contributions, and everybody else that provides their energy. So we can keep doing this each day, every day, miraculously by the seat of our pants. All right, we got Martin coming, and where's Michael? There's Michael. Okay, we're good. Right on. There's Martin. Martin, are you?
What's up, my man?
What's happening?
Hey.
Michael Mejia. Oh, you're good. All right. What's happening, everybody? Sorry, my computer, my head was running slow. It's good to see you guys, man. Does anybody want to, Martin, you started this thing. You want to, I mean, I guess we should give the backdrop to it. Martin made an incredible post a week ago, Friday. So 9 days ago. And there seems to be, as we all know, more and more cohesion between what we call dream state and awake state, literally. So there's been a lot of that going on with Martin, Morgan, and myself, and others. I'm sure Michael's in the mix. I mean, so anyway, what happened was I was writing a few threads, through streams, and then I picked up my phone Friday night a week ago, and the first thing I saw was this big face of Donald Trump with a bunch of gold around it. I don't have political opinions. I'm very wary when it comes to Trump and Q and anything that can potentially steal my power, even though that may not be its intention or someone's intention. So, but I saw it and I went, oh, wow, what's that? Then I saw it was Martin, and I read it, and it was mind blowing. It was absolutely taking the words right out of my mouth. So I went to make a comment, something to that effect, mind blown. You took the words out of my mouth. And I realized when I made the comment, I was the first one to make a comment. So he must have just put it up. So then I posted on my page, and 200 engagements later, somewhere in the mix, Michael Mejia, our dear brother, he hit me up and he said, dude, I went with Martin smoking. And he's like, can we, that's bigger than the ones they make in Texas. So Michael says to me, why don't we get together with Martin? And me, I was like, okay, well, let's do that, but let's do it online. And then everybody's like, okay, let's do it. So we did have a private meeting. this didn't go off whenever it was supposed to go off, because Martin had some internet issues, as we all been having technical issues, technological issues. So that's kind of what brought us here. So that it was kind of under the, the theme of what Martin wrote. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the special Sunday edition. We also have another very special Sunday edition, Soul Speaks, coming tonight with Mcnicholl, who's going to be talking very raw and authentically from the heart in regard to some of the stuff going on the global stage, which I think is probably connected to what we're going to talk about today. But I'm going to hand this over to Martin Mcnicholl and let him take it from there. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you started this.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, thank you again, brother. Thank you, Todd, for all that you do. Thank you for bringing this together and creating platform for, free speech and for creating conversation, because I know you're open and you've brought us together here in this way. I know Michael shares those sentiments, and I feel it's just important for us to get a united voice in our community. Our community is very splintered, I feel, and there's process and there's reason for that, but I feel there's a real importance to get to a core unity within all of us. And the post was, I should have read it back before I come on. The theme of it was, around basically what you said there. Like, that image was used because that's the trigger point for most people. It wasn't about an individual. The post wasn't about the individual, but that's the one that triggers. That's the one that catches the attention. So that's why I was guided to use it. But it's really about what you said in a nutshell. Is about, it's either we're looking up to someone we're on our knees. Humanity's been on our knees. So we're on our knees looking to someone to save us, or on our knees disempowered. We've given our power away. And I really wanted to just sort of call out what I've seen in my own journey, and always from my own experience, where over the years I've had experiences where, guidance came to me that kind of tried to, the way I feel is kind of aggrandizing myself or aggrandizing another, or empowering another, disempowering another. And my true heart feeling is that expanded awareness, the highest point of ourselves, there is no separation, there is no better, there is no worse, there is no good, there is no evil, there is oneness, there is unity. And we're playing out all of these roles here to remember that, to come back to that. And the fracturing that's happening at the moment, and the different, I've actually had another really profound dream since that. Like, all of the kind of, like, our broad community are in their own little circles, and everyone's kind of, it's fracturing, and things have to fall apart to come together. But I just feel it's important for, to have a clear voice, whatever that is, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with that, that's good. But I feel we need to have there's something that unites us all. And we had a joke about it when we were talking about it. I was expecting a whole load of negative, kind of quote negative response to it, but there was very little, which was fairly surprising, to be honest, because but that's what I was trying to find a unity, not judging, not necessarily calling myself and calling all of us, but finding a unity, finding something. We're not here to be the same. We're not here to always agree, but there's a point of unity that we can find. And that is because divided we fall. In unity, we've given our power away by being, divided and allowing ourselves to be divided. But the point of unity, if we can find that, and there's a voice of that, then we can have our differences and have unity in diversity. So that was really what it was about. And it was like 3 a.m. So it's amazing it was just pinpointed for you at the same time. I was up late. It was just, I could have wrote for hours, and I wanted to keep it short, and it was pretty long. But yeah, it seemed to resonate with some people, and yeah, it came. So here we are.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you didn't get like a cannon fire sent your way, but it was very well done. It was from a very balanced, non-judgmental, honest articulation, authentic. Michael, I know that last time we talked, Martin and I decided that when it comes to explaining things and speaking, that you got us beat. So
my God, yeah.
Can you shed some light on how it hit you, what you got from it, and we'll just keep it going.
Yeah, no, thanks for, I'm just glad to share space with both of you. And yeah, I was actually talking to Marina, who is going to be on Soulology Friday. And literally an hour and a half before you posted, I had mentioned that. And I had told her, like, I feel like there's this big elephant in the room and this spiritual schism within the community. Like, you can see it factioned off. And you see people leaving, losing followers, people going over here. I mean, even within comments, I saw just so much affliction and attachment, like on all sides of the spectrum. And so I just thought to myself, like, whoa, why aren't we communicating about this? Because, I mean, this is the work we've all been doing. We should be able to have these vulnerable conversations with heart and love and understanding. And then an hour and a half later, I'm scrolling and Todd reposted your article and was like, boom. And so I read the article and it just echoed the sentiments that I was feeling. So for me, I think that there isn't any desire to say that one perspective is above another perspective, because I think that everything is true. I just felt like there was a deep desire to anchor a different level of perception in the conversation and kind of just like reformulate the way we meet what's going on in the collective. And I felt like the post you made, Martin, was transparent, vulnerable, sincere, pure. All I felt was love, and I didn't even feel a lot of Martin or personality. I just felt a lot of just you were a receptor for something that wants to kind of be transmitted into the world. That's what I felt. And but speaking to the I think that this something that has been veiled in the spiritual community, and not just now, but for ages, is that the spiritual community, like every other structure that was created in the old paradigm, isn't immune to the principle of duality. Yeah. And so what's being lifted and what's being seen is that we too have to see that we have been a part of a paradigm that's dissolving, and that dichotomy is being mirrored, right? No different than in all the world religions. And you see sectarianism within each religion, right? You're seeing it within the spiritual communities. And I really like to focus on principles and laws rather than focusing in on a form, even though it's hard because we definitely have some like figureheads, right? And that's why that picture is a trigger point for people. But for me, where Donald Trump, and I'm in the United States, where Donald Trump is, I mean, it's such a, like, the conversation just gets like immediately, right? But I think that there's such a divine retribution here. And if we could like kind of try, if we haven't accessed like a clairsentient understanding for what we're feeling, if we could try to see it and conceptualize that, take out the name, take out the story, take out the personality, this form kind of like is prismatic and holds all of the different aspects of a decaying paradigm. And where it's really divinely beautiful and powerful is that it's literally mirroring anything that's still fragmented within the collective. And it's kind of like demonstrative and it's visible. And one thing I would lovingly challenge is that something I see throughout the community is people feel he is an aberrant or he is a radical and he's going against something. There's nothing aberrant about the way the ego has collected the many phases of itself or the facets of itself, right? What's aberrant to all of us, every form right now, is embodying the spirit, because that's something that hasn't been done on a collective level for a long time. Now breathe. Yeah.
Martin, should we just let him talk the rest of the
I'm,
time?
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. You can just.
We have,
turn it off.
and so you both you guys, just so you know, to Martin's question in the message, we can you can screen share.
Yeah.
I believe I'm the only one that didn't do it, but I believe Martin's got a little. We're going to mix in some artistic expression. I know Michael, I think, was up to something. We all know what he does, and his beloved brother Israel, and Martin's got some music, some light language. And we're going to mix the message, not just have the narrative or the commentary. I want to say a couple of things too, and then I'll send it back to Martin. So Martin followed up this post that we're talking about a couple of days ago with a short meme that was a hell of a follow-up, which I think is also connected to this. And I think as we go through this conversation, it'll come full circle, which basically the meme said, those that have played those roles, the dark roles, are now ready to be brought into alignment, to be loved, it said a lot of things in a few words. So between the lines, and essentially he took it back to the power of one, and that, they will not be able to be brought into alignment. And these are my words, and I'm just kind of expanding on the frequency that I picked up from it, but that they wouldn't be able to be brought into alignment, healed, whatever you want to call it, until the observer, this is a quantum field, does so within themselves. This is a big deal. There's some stuff coming to the surface. Mcnicholl and people like him bringing it to the table. This is where the gold is. They have brought themselves into alignment, into healing. They're ready to talk. There's plenty of code in people sharing from the heart, courageously and raw and vulnerable. But the bottom line is we're going to be able to learn a lot from them because they've been through the extremity of the physical experience in what I've got to believe is some of the most, from a human standpoint, horrific episodes you could go through. But to be able to be in their presence and be exposed to their level of forgiveness, because that's really the marker. The marker is, do these people that have gone through these things, I'm married to one, can they relay this story without a charge? And that takes a lot of work. I don't know how to do it. I know my wife's done it, and I know other people have done it. And I think this is a part of the new paradigm, that once there's a certain amount of this completed on an individual level, there will be no such word as forgiveness or healing. So I wanted to bring that up. And then I wanted to also cite from the first part of his post 9 days ago that that really caught my attention right away. And that was, and he went on to explain it in quite much detail, but he started out by saying, I'm, of course, with his place from humility, he established where he was coming from, as Michael put so well, that there are prominent people. And when I say prominent, I'm talking about people, with all due respect, that have put themselves out there. That's not an easy thing to do. I respect anyone that does it, even if I'm diametrically opposed to what they're saying. If you've got the balls to get out there and say something, that says a lot. And so I say this with all respect, but he brought up an interesting point, which I had not thought about. And that was, certain people are, quote unquote, channeling or transmitting or downloading what I would call biased or prejudiced transmissions. And, one of the things that's really starting to come full circle is that there seems to be a fading out of the external representation, communication with our aspects, because more of it's happening within ourselves. and I guess what really jumped out at the beginning of that post was that he pointed it out. Number one, how can you pull something in? And I'm not judging anyone, and he wasn't either, but it's thought provoking. How can you pull something in that's not pure and biased? How can you pull something from within yourself that's not pure and biased? Alignment is alignment, and discernment is discernment. And to me, one of the big things that first part of his post told me was that when it comes right down to it, I'm made in the image, and whether I'm in the ethers or the physical, I am that. And it is not anything perceived as external from me, whether it's something I can see or not. It is not that energy or entities or essences responsibility to own my field. I am that. I am made in the image. I am the goddess head, and so I thought it was very thought provoking. It wasn't a damnation or a damning comment or a judgment against these people. Anyone that might have done that. I'm sure I've done it. I don't know, who knows, but it was something to me that spoke to the I am soul. And so I wanted to just throw that in there when Martin said he couldn't remember anything, but that part really jumped out at me. I'll hand it back over to Martin. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And because I haven't read it back. I did read it back the first couple of times, but what I feel is important about this is where I'm seeing the conversation and the questions that we're asking are not really the really true important questions, because people are arguing over this individual and that individual and who's doing this and who's not doing this. And no one's asking, what am I doing? Who am I being? What is my role in this? It's, again, Hollywoodized. That's what is the way it was put. It's like, it's out there. It's out there. And like you said, it's what's out there is just a reflection of us. What's up there is a reflection of us. We are a reflection or a projection of what's up there, and there's no separation. But the conversation seems to be divided on individuals and what they are or what they aren't. And there are many. And I've seen, since that post, I've seen so many, like you shared, like coming out and sharing some beautiful, raw, authentic shares from people that were there and that have experienced that. And I just feel it always comes back to empowerment. It's always empowerment. It's always, who am I? Who am I in response to this? What is my role in this? Because if it's out there, you're disempowered. Doesn't matter who it is, what it is, how fancy it sounds, how advanced it sounds. If it's out there, it's out of your hands, you're disempowered. When it's in here, where it is always, we're only projecting it out there. That's where we have choice. That's where we have the ability to discern, the ability to choose. And again, it's not about wrong or right. It's not that there is a right way and a wrong way. There's infinite ways up the mountain. We're all already there. But there is a sense, I feel, and I don't really know why, but I've felt a sense, if you have any sort of influence or following, you have a responsibility to truly share what is true to you and not hold back anything, even if it's going to be unpopular, even if you think it's kind of going against the grain. I feel everyone, and that's what I said, if someone's diametrically opposed to everything that I shared, I feel it's important that they should share that, as long as it comes from the true essence within them. So I just feel the questions, the life comes out of the questions that we ask and the intent that we have. And I just feel that a lot of the questions and the focus are focused outside on separation and individuals and Hollywoodization and all of the drama, which we're all part of. And we all are at the core on the same, what we want peace, we want safety for our children, we want loving relationships, we want abundance for all. But how we get there? Do we get there by fighting fire with fire? Do we get there with, like, I saw something the other day, we're in, you're probably in loads of like spiritual Facebook groups, and I saw one the other day. I have no idea what it was called before, but it completely changed its name, and it had something about Q in there. And then at the end, no mercy, what was it? Something about no mercy, no forgiveness, something like this. This is a light worker Facebook group. And it's like, if you're not with us, you need to get out. But that sort of thing needs to happen. But it's showing that there's just this sense that it's out there and I'm disempowered, or I'm waiting for this savior, like the savior complex. It's that I'm here to save the world, or someone needs to come and save me. And I just feel all of my journey, I just feel a responsibility to really just share what is, like, if I'm feeling like shit, I'm going to tell you, like 3 days ago, and you do know well, everything was going wrong. If I'm feeling like I'm up, I'm going to share it as well. And if it's uncomfortable and it's something that's not popular, which I'm surprised it actually didn't end up that way, but that's what it felt like. We have a responsibility. If even you have influence on one person, which we all do, I feel we have just that. We have to empower ourselves to empower everyone to get off their knees. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
That. Yeah, I want to speak to what both of you said. Both of you just brought up brilliant points. So what Martin's talking about is, I think that we have seen a lot of external focus, and we're forgetting that the collective and the macro is a mirror. And that's why I think a lot of the poetry coming through right now is just talking about mirroring, because all of our energy's out there. And when we bring our energy and focus it back inside on the spirit, we're going to start to be able to put everything back into perspective. Something you wrote in the article that really resonated with me is that we are the den of iniquity, right? Like you're talking about how people are, what's the word?
Hollywoodized. I don't know where that came from.
I liked it. Hey, new word. But when you're talking about, like, we're zoning in and focusing on one aspect of the paradigm dissolving, but really every single power structure and every single form on earth is dissolving the vibrational signature of duality. So each form was the den of iniquity. The political system, the hospitals, every economy, like everything is dissolving, right? And so again, sometimes I think we through unconscious programming, our attachment tends to want to focus on one aspect of a decaying paradigm. And then we lose focus that we're one organism called the universe, expressing itself in a multitude of forms. And the universe wanted to have a veiled experience of itself, right? Like I want to move into spiritual amnesia and experience the physical. And the ascension is this one organism's like, I'm ready to wake up and experience myself in a remembered state. And so now all of us are waking back up, and that eternal aspect is coming back into the forefront of all of our consciousness as it's expanding. I think that one of the things you wrote at the end of your article is we need to go back inside. We need to see where we're fragmented within ourselves. And that's where we're going to be liberated. And then to Todd's point with the channeling and discernment. And I think that, I've grown up, which I've mentioned to Todd in the past, with my mom and my grandmother and my sisters, and all of them are clairvoyant. And so I've kind of been in conversation my whole life with knowing who we're connecting with and what does it feel like. And I think something that I would offer that's been helpful for me is, as the spirit and as consciousness expands right now, and as the spirit comes back into embodiment, the virtues of the spirit come back online, right? So clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, all of these come back online. The composition of the spirit is love, and love will not and cannot express itself as anything other than love. To where with duality, what you feel is, and you wrote this beautifully in your post, is duality, its principle is dichotomy. So I would kind of just encourage people to, when they're receiving messages within themselves, channeling external messaging, ask themselves, does this carry the vibrational frequency of love? Is this bridging? Is this clearing distortion and bringing an image of one organism waking up? Or does this feel like separation? Does this feel like self-aggrandizement, right? Does this feel like exaltation? And kind of just feel the frequencies, because as these faculties come on, we get to interpret energy, not words. And yeah, so that's...
God. I don't know why we even took a turn talking. This guy's just...
we're just holding space.
Well, I haven't written in a long time, but I still think I have a pretty good vocabulary and I can flow pretty good. But Michael, you're just incredible, dude. Yeah, so thank you both for that. I think, beneath whatever, there seems to be a stance of one extreme of the other, one side of the fence or the other, one side of the 0 point or the other, regardless. And we're really talking about the lightworker community today, I think, because we are supposed to be the way showers, and I don't mean that from a hierarchical way or a judgmental way towards religions or philosophies or anything else. I'm actually directing that at ourselves, because that's pretty much the predominant thought, that we're here to transform this world. And underneath any issue out there where there's a stance taken, especially now as this division or these divides occur on issue after issue after issue, where there's an obvious polarity that we can't always see within ourselves. But beneath it's all getting back to a basic element. You can call it a choice of love versus fear, whatever the case is. Now, in the literal experience, we're having to shed these skins by going to face them as a surface. And let's face it, beneath Q, beneath Trump, beneath other leaders' ideologies seems to be coming to the boiling point. The pedophilia, the child trafficking, the alleged human sacrificing, these very, very dark things from a human perspective. And it would only make sense that, as so many of us can attest to, that all of our darkness, a good part of our darkness, has come up many, many times. I know Martin very well. I know his story. I know he's gone into the abyss, into the void many, many times, and had to step away. There's many other people like that. These things surface when you think you've already cleared them. It only makes sense, as within, without, that the grimiest, dirtiest, most hideous, whatever you want to call it, is going to come out. And so I think that to start talking about these things like Will tonight, McManus will tonight, is absolutely the best thing we can do. It really is, to hear people's stories, to understand where they're coming from, because another thing that I've really learned over the last couple of years, being married to a shadow eater and a 0 point master, is that it doesn't matter what side of the spectrum in the polarity game that you stand with. If you're over identifying with one side or the other, you are perpetuating the duality game. And so whether you're a victim or a perpetrator, or I'm sorry, if you identify with one more than the other, then you are just as, you're responsible. You're responsible as the God you are for perpetuating the existing polarity game. And so I think part of telling our stories, what that does is it sheds light on, for instance, why did the perpetrator do it? What happened to them when they were 5 years old? Or from another standpoint, because sometimes you get the, hey, get over it thing, when somebody passes, we've all experienced that. Or if you've gone through a trauma, everybody, is sovereign, and that will be respected. Like Michael said, love only knows one combination of frequencies here. And part of that is to allow and accept and revere and honor and respect everybody's journey It's going to take time. We're not in a linear construct. We're in a quantum construct. So if it looks like somebody's taking too long, you're in the linear construct. I'm in the linear construct. The fact is, when he or she comes into alignment, not only are they doing that for themselves, as we've all learned, but they're doing it for the collective, which is why we're all here. So that inner work is becoming more and more and more in our face. And that's a good sign. It's a little painful sometimes when we don't listen to it, and when we get distracted with what's outside of ourselves, regardless of what it is. This is about sovereignty. This is about bringing a higher truth to the table for the earth and for the one, you know, in every timeline, every dimension. We have it's an honor to be able to be afforded the opportunity to what we're doing on the earth today, and for this universe, for the multiverse. And it's amazing to me as the days go on, how much more effective we are by being how much proportionate to how much more human we are. And so that's where I'm going to leave this one, and I'll give it back to Martin. And you two can bring in the artistic part of this anytime you want to, and I'll see if I can follow up with something.
Yeah. I'd just like to follow up on that, because we've talked briefly about it before, but from the very beginning of my journey on this kind of adventure of remembering, the sexual abuse and working with people that have been through, I talked about that in the post, some of the most horrendous, like the movies wouldn't come into it, some of the stuff that I've, people that I've worked with, and they are, like you talked about earlier, the most incredible beings on this planet. They are the beings that are holding the space for this transformation, and their voice is rarely heard. It's all the people, there's many is involved, but the loudest voices are normally not the people that were actually directly involved. They're in groups, like especially Mystery School last year that I was called to create. That was a huge theme the whole year. And I feel it's really important now. And I know that as a movement, and that is something that's going to come more to the fore, is, really having those conversations in these spaces, in public spaces, because that's what perpetuated this as well. It's kept underground. It was kept hush hush. It was kept because of so many things. And I feel that's what's going to come forward here now. I know you're feeling that energy, and I know more and more people are feeling supported enough, the people that have been through this, to come out and really have their voice heard. And they really are, like, I'm in awe of every single one of them that I've ever had the honor of, sharing space with, through the breath work, through all of the other things that we've done. And I feel it's important that their voice is heard, and the way that they see, and also in alignment with that that's coming very strongly now, is that the children, and I know you've done many on your shows, Todd, that the millennials and the children, basically any being born after 1987, the harmonic convergence, they've got codes within them to revamp, to completely reverse, to completely rebuild everything that was built in duality, like Michael was sharing. And they are the keys. They've got it all. And they need to be heard, along with the dissolving paradigm, the people that were on the lowest or the darkest end roles of what is dissolving now. And I feel the combination of them both is what we're coming to. And just to your other point about the dark roles, that came from another dream that I had 2 days ago. And that was profound. That was really profound, because I told you, I rarely remember dreams, but since this Lion's Gate, I've been having very specific, very vivid, very real. So again, I'm not going to give the individual's name, because I put it in that post because that was a polarizing figure. This figure would be, I'm not going to say the name, but this figure would be one of the ones who would be playing what we would see as probably one of the darkest roles on the planet at the moment. And I was in the dream with this being appeared in the dream and gave me, well, I got a message in the dream that they were ready to be released from their roles. We all chose to come and play a role. We play the villain, we play the victim, we play whatever. We've played them all. It's all one, it's quantum. But what was shown to me was that they were ready to be released from their roles, but they cannot release themselves. The role can only be released within ourselves. And the way it was shown to me was that we had to meet them halfway. And it kind of ties into what you were saying earlier, that we have to go into that place within ourselves and touch into the darkness of ourselves and own our part of all of that. And that allows them to be released from the role that they're playing for us, that we could not see within ourselves. If those roles were not played, we could not see them. As dark as it is, as horrible as it is, we cannot know that unless there was a soul that chose to come and play that role for us. They are ready to be released from that role. And the dream, this is again how the children, my son is 1 year old, he'll be 2 in October, but telepathically communicating with us before he came here. I didn't fully understand how the dream worked. I spoke to my wife, and then my son literally played out in role play in front of me what the dream meant and what we were to do about it. Literally played it out in physical. I won't go into the story, but he showed me by doing certain things, showed me how they are completely blinded by technology, completely blinded. They cannot see, they don't know, they only know one thing. And usually it's violence, control, manipulation, but they're totally blinded to that. And unless we are willing to go into that depth, to meet that depth, that part, they cannot release themselves. They're sovereign beings as well, but they're playing a role, and they're playing a role for the masses of us to release them from that role. And that can only be released by us owning, embracing it, as challenging as that is, to come to unity in that. And yeah, so for so long I've had no memory of dreams, but now it's every night. It's like really, really powerful. And I feel we are ready for this. Something else I shared this week is that if you weren't ready for this, you wouldn't be here. If you are here, you're ready for this. And all of your multiple parallel lifetimes now, you were training to remember this moment right now. And you are ready. And you may feel lost. You may feel like it's too much, but you are ready. That's why you're here. So many people are feeling challenged, feeling like overwhelmed at this time. And I just want to remind them that you're here because you are ready. And your time's now.
That was powerful. I think that both of you have been bringing a lot up in me just the last few minutes. And Todd said something about the journey of the oppressor and the journey of the oppressed. And for me, I felt so cursed by my sexuality when I was younger. I didn't come out till I was 27 years old, like, I don't know if that's 6 or 7 years ago. And I was so imprisoned by my guilt and shame. And it took a long time. One of the reoccurring programs that would come up for me was that I felt justified in my pain and anger towards the quote unquote oppressor, right? The people that had hurt me, getting beat up physically when I was younger. I felt, oh, it's okay for me to feel this way. It doesn't take any power away from me because what they did was wrong. And it took a long time for that veil to lift. But when it lifted, what I found was that the oppressor and the oppressed are equally imprisoned by the experience, because both of them have become blocked by the energy of the experience. So where the hidden gift, as painful as the experience is, and not to take anything away from anyone, but where the pearl of liberation lies for both, is that those roles block us both from the infinite expression of our spirit, and our heart gets closed off. So it wasn't until I merged again with the oppressor as myself, right? I wasn't just the oppressed in this experience. I was everything. And then there was an opening of where have I, in whatever form it has taken, where have I been the oppressor? Where have I been the oppressed? Where have I taken power? Where have I withheld power? And kind of started understanding those cycles. And something I also really wanted to mention, Martin, was you talked about how the role of everybody is so powerful. And I loved, it was so poetic how you put it, because you talked about whether it's a billionaire, a president, the drunk man on the street who's always giving conspiracy theories. And when I was reading that, I love when like people's messages like create initiations. And what it was showing for me is like, I know my mother, my father was just a hard blue collar worker, worked his whole life, like was so exhausted by the time he got home, he didn't really have time to think or explore as much, right? But like he was just working. And my mother dedicated her life to raising 3 children, and she's a caretaker for a bunch of other people. And what I thought is that they are equally a part of the poetry and the visuals and everything that's out in the world. And so is that 4th grade teacher who looked at me and said, Michael, you have a big heart. You're supposed to write. And, you know, like just, and the boys that beat me up when I was younger, because I remember feeling like I'm not supposed to be on this planet. And those boys through that pain and through those experiences, they threw me into that sort of sense of introspection and at a young age, and not that disequilibrium, and not feeling like I was supposed to be here. They sent me into myself sooner. All of these people were initiations. And when we remember that, literally everything is just the expression of one source of energy, this one source of energy, everything's vital. Had that one person not told you that one thing, right? Of all the people that told me I was going to burn in hell for eternity, it only took one. It took one poet, Mcnicholl, telling me, you were wholly made. And until you anchor your truth into the world, not only will you not be able to set yourself free, but there's others that are waiting to be set free as well. Like, right? Like, I just loved how you put that, because it's true. Like every role is vital and every role is perfect. And so I just love that. Thank you. Both of you are just, you're going to have me crying in a few minutes.
Everybody else is.
I've been close already.
Just real quick, you know, that's the thing about the episode. The episode being, let's just say, you know, whatever that is, that in the polarity created a victimizer and a victim. So I love what you said too, because the fact is, you know, and we're probably all more familiar with the victim part. Okay. That's what's brought out in therapy. That's what's brought out in sessions and such. But the fact is, you're exactly right. That incident, and therefore that label, that self-judgment, and everything that goes with it, whether you're the victim or the victimizer, is not who you are. And so that's what he's saying. It's an even playing field there. The what we call the literal is not literal. The occurrence in the physical timeline in this polarity is so beautifully designed and perfectly designed. We're at a point now where there's enough momentum in certainly in our community that we now have enough of a spiritual wherewithal. We have enough pedigree. We have enough experience. We've shed enough skin to be responsible gods and goddesses, be responsible creators, and stop putting this shit off on everybody else, you know? And I think probably some frank, blunt discussions and a few F-bombs won't hurt either, you know? I'm going to just cite something that happened to us a few months ago because it's very much the same as Martin's follow-up post from 2 days ago. So we were in Florida in doing our normal routine at night, and the atmosphere became very calm. the room obviously was dark. We were laying in bed, hands together, and there was a reverence came into the room, and the energy and the entities were reptilian, and it was one of the most profound experiences that we've ever had. If we look at the storyline, you've got all these copies of the, the basic equation of victim, victimizer, perpetrator, victim, whatever. The reptilian energy would be considered the bad guy. Now, this energy came into the room, and the purpose of this visitation or this merging was, as the individuals go, so goes the collective, was for them to let us know that their job had been done.
Yeah.
That they had to play this role, that it wasn't always easy for them. And now they could rest. Now they could, and they just wanted us to know this. And then we merged. And so I looked at it the same way as what Martin followed up with 2 days ago in that little meme. These folks, these brothers, these sisters, these energies, these entities, these essences, they're divine humans, they're divine essences. They are ready to be relieved of their role. They're ready to meet us in the soul highway. And it's so extraordinary as this journey goes on for me, because 9 years ago, I saw the paradoxical nature of the universe in the way it taught me. And I look at this the same way. They cannot be released. They cannot be made whole and whole, holy and whole, unless we do it for them. I mean, unless we do it ourselves. And that's the great thing too about this new age of the Trinity, is that when we serve ourself from the highest and purest intention, in the trajectory of the purest alignment, free will to universal will, we get a simultaneous reaction. We elevate to our highest potential, and the external, from the closest circles to us to the widest, do the same thing at the same time. And that's a beautiful, beautiful equation. That is not polarity. And this is where, this is our true nature, and we're physicalizing it, which is so exciting. But this is no longer just cliches and new ageisms. This is actually time to walk the walk, put your money where your mouth is, step out of the box once and for all. And I think there's a lot more people doing it than we give it credit for. And I think these conversations are one of, if not the key. And just one last thing to, I think what both of you said, it's so important to allow, we know that we can't live in the story, but it's so important to allow the expression of the story. Yeah. Because it may look like it's a wounded human telling a story, and there's a lot of strength in that, there's a lot of courage in that. It takes guts. But the fact is, it's full of code. And I'm here, and it's just my opinion, I believe there's more code in that than in this, than anything we pull from the ethers. We are the ethers. We're just physicalized. We're gods in the flesh. And so make room, because I think what's happening today, right now, what's happening with Mcnicholl tonight, and we're very honored to support that, I think is almost like, I don't want to say the final stretch, but I think when men start to actually share these experiences as the women have so courageously done so, I think it's going to open up a whole bunch of code for everybody, because that's like the last portion of our closed heart, I would say, is not in the distorted feminine, it's in the distorted masculine. And let's face it, every one of us are children. And so if we take care of it from the, the adult aspect of the spirit, of the energetic, as in the masculine, the mother, the masculine, the father, the feminine, the mother, the child will be just fine. And I have a feeling too that the child is the strongest part of us. But anyway, I'm going to pass it back to Martin. And
I'd like to just offer something that may be a bit of a little challenge for people watching now or in the future. It's a few questions that were coming to me this week, and I just want to offer it just in humbleness and just offering it to go within yourself, because we can talk about this and we can share beautiful experiences, but until we embody this, until we look within ourselves, I feel like we're not getting those places that both you, Todd, and Michael have shared so beautifully. It's so a question that was coming to me, and these questions come from myself. Again, I teach what I need to learn. I always share this. I am very much go through all of the challenges that each of you do. I've just had certain experiences. I'm getting a vision right above me here in the sky of a light ship. Shit you not, a light ship is in front of me here. So the question that were coming is, ask yourself in this lifetime, how many times have you sold yourself? How many times have you sold yourself doing something that was horrible, that you hated? How many times have you diminished yourself? How many times have you made sex dirty, bad, hidden? How many times have you given your power away just because it's societal, it's the norm, it's just what's done? I just offer those questions, and they are doorways, gateways to many other questions. And I just invite everyone to see, take your own time and see where they take you, and see what that micro is showing you on the macro now, and how you can make a new decision. So I just wanted to offer that, and offer it over to you, Michael. Not that question right now, but
Oh, those are great. Yeah, I think just something that's coming up for me throughout the conversation is just, for me, all of the light that has been uncovered has always been through some deep darkness for me. And it's been a long, painful journey, and it continues. I'm still very much in the embodying phase and learning and growing and processing. And this last portal has been intense. When you both wrote, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, when we were all messaging, that you guys I couldn't sleep last night. I was like, I just haven't been able to sleep for the last couple of nights because I just feel like I've been plugged into a light socket. And I just think that another kind of schism, or something that isn't really talked about enough, and this is why I love those questions, and this is what's bringing up for me, is I really feel like it would be so beautiful to destigmatize how dark ascension is, like how painful it is. Todd calls it the holy darkness. And I just feel like, especially because with the death of the patriarchy and the healing of the masculine and the unification of the divine masculine and divine feminine, I think it's also would be really beautiful for the male form, the male aspect, to talk about, how intense it is, and those moments of, I mean, I have them every portal, which seems like every other day, which is like, oh, okay, I'm done. I thought I already moved through this, And so just kind of staying there and not being afraid of it, and honoring it and looking at it and just kind of just being with it, which I loved what you had written a couple of days ago. Because when you had written, anger's coming up and I'm processing this. And so that ended up happening to me yesterday. So you were like a day ahead of me. And then I'm like, go back to Martin's post. What was he feeling? So just how helpful it is to be real about that. And I think we've been so conditioned to feel like we don't want to lose power or perception, you know, and we've been conditioned, all forms, but especially I think the male form through the patriarchal sense of that showing ourselves is a loss of power. And really, I think that if we can deconstruct that and verbalize that, showing yourselves is how you regain power. And it's how you transmute energy. And it's one of the components of being an alchemist is to step into it and to say that this is beautiful. It's challenging and it's scary, but it's beautiful.
God, dude, showing yourself is real power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know how to follow that up. I don't even know what to say. But that I can just speak from my own personal experience that first sharing my truth or showing myself to myself, and for 2 years walking the street, it was powerful and transformative. And then, of course, meeting Morgan and then being able to show myself to her in a safe space taught me a lot. Taught me that it could be replicated, that it could be broadened into what is Soulgy, a space, you know, a vortex of support and safety. And then also, if I go back to my journey with her, which is again just a micro of the whole thing, is, you know, once you start to open up, because I couldn't tell her everything in the beginning. There were certain things I couldn't. And as I was able to open, not only was I able to go deeper, but I was also able to say, hey, I didn't tell you everything, which isn't easy. But I guess that's more open, you know. But so I guess what I'm saying is, as I'm a big believer in the way this energy expands, call it whatever you want, is to actually engage it. To actually engage it. And I've said this many, many times, and I'll say it many more times. I was told 9 years ago, the universe said, whatever you do, don't do anything that's been done. Create something new. And it sounds crazy to be open and exposing yourself as being something new, but really it is, especially for the male form. And so I agree with what you're saying. And yeah, the more we talk, that's all I know to do, is just to be honest about it. There's still things I haven't divulged. I don't know how far it goes or how many people it's done in front of, but if it is required, if it makes sense, if it behooves myself and the collective, then I will be done, you know. But yeah, I'm excited about this moment, and I'm excited about tonight, and I'm excited for what it represents. Because I do feel like that if we look at the collective heart, the part of the heart that's mostly closed is primarily comprised of all of our masculine energy, our distorted masculine. So we have this nurturing space, this womb, the holy darkness, that enough of our feminine energy, led by the female form for the most part, has created it, has lit it up. And now as we get into another phase, I see this distorted masculine diminishing, being transformed and transmuted, and the real divine masculine energy within all of us, and therefore collectively, will start to shake things up and get shit done, you know, because that's its role. Yeah. Create. And so I'm good. I don't think I can say another word, to be honest with you.
I'd like to just say, like, just what Michael, and just for both of you, but what, like, Michael's work, I feel that's what his work does. Like, you sent me You sent me a couple of his videos in the poetry at that same time of that post, and I was just like blown away, like the artistic expression of that, and coming from that place, that was just heart opening, challenging. Like it was everything. It was every angle, and I feel like that artistic. Like you're saying, like, you know, if we need to express it verbally or sometimes we don't have to. Sometimes it's poetry. Sometimes it's dance. Sometimes it's, you know, and sometimes it's not for the highest good to like vocalize something, but in the way that Michael does it, in the way that you do it through your work as well, Todd, both in this show and your artistic musical work, that's all part of the process. And that's what I feel can, for so many of the distorted masculine, is a way in, and is a way to open the heart in a more in an active way. And that's something that I'm going to be offering here today. An active participatory process for divine masculine activation. And I want to offer that. But I feel, you know, there's no one way for that to happen for either the masculine or the feminine. But, you know, if we embrace all of those, and I feel like it's so important, people like you two guys, in the way that you're given that outlet, it magnetizes, and it's effective. It's exponential, rather than just like the counseling or the sessions and the one-on-ones. You know, it takes it to a whole new level. So yeah, I feel excited. I feel we're ready. We really are at a point of something huge, but it's not out there. It's always in here. No matter how we feel. Like a couple of days ago, I wouldn't be saying the same things. I'm feeling like, you know, I'm down, I'm angry, whatever. But I know it's part of the process. And I just want to thank you both for holding space for me. And this is something in the masculine, well, for me, has been, I'm going alone. I don't need anyone. And I know that's something that's going to transform the brotherhood and coming back together and in our own unique ways. That's something that's really important, I feel, and something that I haven't been open to. I'm not going to say it wasn't there. I've not been open to it. So just, yeah, that's something really powerful that we can learn from our sisters as well, which they're powerfully showed us. So yeah, exciting times. It is.
Did you want to? Did you have something to share?
I have something to share, but it's quite active and it's quite like, and I'm feeling like maybe Michael, if you would like to go first, because
yeah,
what's coming.
That's what. Yeah,
I just
what I
feel
was
for the flow of it.
So, Brother Todd, will you be able to access it? I loaded it on, just because I've never done screen share or any of that.
Okay, yeah, I can do it.
It's on my YouTube page, which is
okay. Hang on.
Poetry of Michael, no spaces.
Yeah, Poetry of Michael. All right, hang on.
And then I'll just give some context while you're grabbing it. It will be the top one. It's called The Monarch. And so yeah, thank you for expressing that about the poetry too, Martin. You saw the politics of attachment, which that's why when your article came out, I felt like a few poems had come in that were, you know, they're of the same spirit. They're vibrating at the same frequency. And for me, when Todd said, when we all just talked to each other about this conversation, he was like, hey, how about we all create something? And so this is what came up for me. And to just contextualize a little bit, I really wanted to capture, and I mean, anyone that's familiar with any of the work or the photography or anything that we put out, I really like it to kind of be abstract, where you can kind of make out a silhouette, like to give context to, there is an expression within each form, which we can call the soul, but that there's these dark, light, masculine, feminine aspects. And when all of them are unified, we retrieve the power of the spirit. So I kind of like to add a lot of that energy. And so this piece is called The Monarch, and it's just kind of about this conversation.
Hang on. I'm having trouble pulling it up.
No problem.
Do you want to send me the link? It's not coming up. It's Poetry of Michael or The Poetry of Michael?
No, it's The Poetry of Michael.
Yeah.
No spaces.
No spaces. Okay.
No spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Okay, that's where I screwed up. You told me that.
While we're in between there, I just want to say, like we talked about this when we were in the private conversation, like I feel for anyone that hasn't experienced Michael's work, that his voice, I think Todd put it amazing, like your voice, it's not just the voice is an instrument, and like it really like just blew me away, to be honest. And I feel like it's so important to acknowledge that as well, to know that it's not just what you're seeing, it's not just what you're hearing, it's not the word, that's the whole tapestry, but there's something so much deeper there. So, and it's a real gift.
Yeah, he's got a voice on the online with like Martin Luther King, man. You know, that type of, there's something. Yeah. Okay, I found it. Here we go. This is the Monarch.
Yes.
Poetry, Michael.
I am not concerned with the name of your God. Show me how this God has transformed your heart. Do you meet the spirit of every soul with reverence? Do you embrace all of life with a tender touch of eternity? You say you will only bow before the Christ. To bow before God is to bow before life. Your tongue seeks blood, and your words have become knives. Your sight scarred and bisected, and your actions, your wounds, and unleashed as animus. Surely this is not the messenger of God. Burn your beliefs, for they have contaminated your heart. Let all desire reveal itself as one in a field full of flowers. You yearn to bloom, to be love, but to only feel one's pain is like a bird without wings, so afraid of the dark, so afraid to enter your heart. There is nothing in this world that will lead you back to God, except for your pain. And then, like the monarch who meets the tears of those dead of filling, your breath will recede and your spirit will glimpse grace. Within the raptured heart and mind, the spirit becomes renewed in sight. You have not reached redemption until everything becomes God in your eyes.
Jesus.
Holy. Okay. Follow that. My God. Oh. Okay. So this screen shared, it just works the same way, Todd, as if I'm...
Yeah, you're good. You can share it just like you normally would.
So,
166 people in the house.
okay, so this is going to be participatory. This is going to be activation. So I'm going to invite you, if you feel called, to stand and express your truth in whatever way you are called. There's going to be audio, visual, light language, as long as I can get the tech working here. And you're invited to throw off the shackles, get up off your knees and express you in your fullness, in your truth. Share this. Hopefully. Can I just test this first and make sure that the sound is working, Todd?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me know.
Yeah, go ahead. There you go.
You got the sound working?
Yeah, it's working.
It's good?
Yes, it's good.
So, in alignment with what we've been sharing, sacred sites across the planet are static sacred sites. We are dynamic portals. We are the dynamic sacred sites. I invite you to stand, allow yourself to express yourself in whatever way.
Jesus Christ. Holy shiitake mushrooms, man.
Wow.
Jesus. I had no idea. I can't stop crying. Okay. Let's see here. Wait a minute. God damn, my heart's exploding. Second.
That's why I can't record these things. I got to do it live. It has to be in the moment. Whew.
Brother, that's the first time I've ever experienced your work, your art, I had chills everywhere. I kept hearing warrior of love. That was just an amazing experience. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. My God.
Wow, man. I don't even know what to say, man. This is, but I can't bail on my brothers. I was like, man, I'm crying. I didn't have time. I didn't make time, whatever the case is. I didn't put anything.
Yeah, this is your whole idea. Now you're blaming us. This is your idea.
So I'm going to pull something out of my soul's ass right here. Okay. So I came off the streets after 2 years, and I sat down and I listened to the theme of the movie A River Runs Through It for about 15 months. This and another song, Adagio with strings, Samuel Barber. But I probably listened to that like less than 10% of the time. And I would listen to this 2 minute and 30-second song literally all day long. And I would just write. And I did this for about over a year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close it out with this. And I have something I wrote way back. That's I'm just going to recite to it. All right, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. I've never actually read this music, but let's see what happens. Found the 0 point, ain't no tightrope, miles and miles wide. All been's tried, face inside, it won't be denied. Soul fires burning, now hope's turning past believing to knowing, and hope just marks the ground between faith and doubt. God is God, son, daughters of the many moons, not one. We're living in this spaceless time, in this timeless space, we're not done. We're loving ourselves, finding our power, and we're lighting the way. And as wisdom comes nearer, we ain't fighting dark. Shining light, soul spark, as always speak. We're living intuitive, no longer blind, and we're discerning our life. We run into our fears, liberation's nearly here. It's a perfect paradox. Salvation's in the lies, the whys and the why nots. Death conquered demons, laid down in love. Angels release, fools to protect. We're living to love, and we're loving to live. And we're empowered by His peace. We are holy and holy, and hallowed be our name. We are soul. All right. I can't stop crying. So I don't know. Somebody.
I'm out.
Somebody want to. I just can't. I'm like on my 9th Kleenex. I just can't. I can't even. So I don't know. Does anybody? Oh my God. Does anybody have anything else to say?
Thank you.
Forward. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you both. It's a
Thank you,
nice,
brother.
powerful triad in the Age of the Trinity. I'm honored to be part of it. I look forward to many more collaborations with Martin and with Michael.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank
both
you.
of
And
Honor, absolute honor.
all blessings to you and yours and everybody else out there. I'll see y'all later, brother.
Love you guys.
Take care.